spent over a year inside our homes and have witnessed how fewer vehicles on the roads have helped the earth heal much faster. I've also wondered, just like these kiddie drives, one day will our fuel pumps look like this? Perhaps that's a discussion for another day, but today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Jaguar I-Pace and it's all electric. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, you can do that now. I have narrowed down 10 things that you probably should know about the Jaguar I-Pace. And now, let's begin. Let's start with the range. Now, range is a very anxious word when it comes to EV. It's a deal breaker. Somewhere this word will always be lingering around your mind when you're driving an EV. Now, this one does about 460 to 480 kilometers under ideal conditions. Now, when you're driving an EV, it depends on your driving condition, because when you're driving on highways, it takes more electricity. When you are doing a lot of braking, it does a lot of regeneration. So there are a lot of factors involved in it. But whatever is your driving condition, whichever way you drive, it will safely do 350 kilometers. Now, if your daily commute is more than that, then you have much bigger problems to worry about. Next comes the drive and the acceleration. The I-Pace is very smooth and refined in driving. That's the bottom line. Thanks to its 50:50 weight distribution, thanks to its low center of gravity, thanks to its battery pack being right there in the middle of the car, and the steering wheel is also very nice to hold, and it gets that connection with the road. It's very agile in the corners, there's no question about it. In fact, we did take some off-roading, raising the suspension a bit. It really didn't scrape anywhere, so that way it has that all the bells and whistles of an SUV without it being a very tall SUV, and doesn't give you the feeling of a body rollover or anything like that, because it really drives very planted, very fast, very smooth, very nice. Let's talk numbers. Hold your breath, guys. The Jaguar I-Pace does 400 horsepower and has about 696 Nm of torque from its dual motors. It draws powers from a 90 kilowatt lithium battery. Now, these numbers are huge by any stretch of imagination. That's why you don't feel a sense of lag when it comes to power in I-Pace, because it has big numbers to bank upon, and it is a very agile car at the same time. Let's size it up. The Jaguar I-Pace has a ground clearance of 174 mm, which is 30 mm more than the Mercedes EQC, which is huge actually. It has a curb weight. By the way, the curb weight is the weight of the car without the passengers and the baggage, just in case you didn't know. The curb weight of the I-Pace is close to 2,133 kg, which is 300 kg less than the EQC and 400 kg less than the upcoming Audi e-tron. Now, this makes the I-Pace very light with the same kind of power, which makes it more agile. It also has a very large wheelbase of about 3,000 mm, which is actually phenomenal. Now, the only problem is when you're driving, you have to get used to the brakes, because the first time when you brake, it actually does a regen. So, it will not be very smooth. So in case you have a very high speed, you have to get used to this. In fact, back in the day, there was some slight issue with this software, and Jaguar had to recall the cars, but that's another story for another day. Now, let's move on to the next one, the tech, which is my favorite part, and the I-Pace has plenty of tech in it. So much of tech that you can't really keep account of it. Now comes my favorite part, the tech, and the I-Pace has plenty of it. Through the 12.3-inch instrument cluster, high definition, and there are screens here, there's a screen in front of you. There's so much of information available that you can almost become an automobile engineer. Okay, first thing, the touch interface is not very smooth as an iPad, but it is good. It doesn't lag too much. Now, there are these functions here. There's of course the 360-degree camera here, which actually shows the camera from all sides, which is pretty cool. Then you have the EV charging. It shows you how much charging you have, how much range you get. It's showing me that I can still do 45%. Then apart from that, there's this vehicle preconditioning. You can set a start time for your car on a future date. I don't know why you do that, but you can do that. Exactly. Now, there's this economical data. You can get all the data that you want, your driving score, your distance, whatever you've done, the history. As I said, there is so much of information overload that you'll go mad. Yes. Coming back to media, which is the most important part, which we'll be using, there is Apple CarPlay, there's Android Auto, there is everything that you need. That's all actually you need, basically. The best tech is actually the rear view mirror, because with one switch, you can actually get the camera on, and you can have a very, very clear view. This is something really very cool, and I have not seen that in any other car so far. So that's something which really scores over anything else, and that's something maybe you can brag about it to your co-passenger when somebody is sitting and observing what this is all about. The screen right here is basically to give you a climate environment. There's AC knobs here. I don't think this screen was really required, but it makes it look more techy. So in terms of tech, every possible feature that's available today is present in this car and more. Yes, that's how it is. It's an EV, it's a future car. The tech has to be completely spot on, and the I-Pace doesn't disappoint on that. Now the legroom is pretty decent. The headroom is also very nice. There is no sunroof, so that could be a put of a dampener for people who are looking to buy that, because especially with kids you like a sunroof occasion to go up. Yes, but there is glass on the top, and this panoramic sunroof prevents strong sunlight, UV light and heat from entering the cabin thanks to the infrared absorbing laminate construction. The fixed glass roof helps lighten up the interior with natural light, maintains comfortable cabin temperatures during sunny days, and keeps the cabin warm in cold climates, which we will not experience so much in India. Technology at its best. Now, Jaguar has done a very smart thing, and I'll tell you what. They have kept under thigh storage where you can slide in your iPad, your phone, and a couple, maybe your wallet, and they give you extra storage. Maybe they've compensated this storage by giving this additional. Now here, probably auto manufacturers can take a cue and start building this into their cars. Could be a good idea. Talk about the design. The Jaguar guys have absolutely nailed it. I mean, they've done a splendid job. Look at the design. It looks so beautiful, so gorgeous. Right from the bonnet, the bold grille curves inwards, reducing drag by channeling air through the bonnet scoop and out, where it passes over a curved roofline for maximum efficiency. The slim, futuristic LED headlights features Jaguar's signature Double J blade graphic. And of course the number plate, it speaks volume about who you are basically. Then the 19-inch tire profile. The tire profile actually gives it that macho, that SUV feel that you probably need, because from the very far the car looks very compact, but as you walk closer to the car, this car grows on you, because inside there's much more room as it would look from the outside, but in all reality the dimensions of the car is very, very big. It's a large car, it's not a very small car, and the design wise, right from the rear, right from the front, it's so spot on. The LED headlights, the tail lights, the shark antenna. There is no wiper here because they say that there's no need of a wiper, and when we were driving around we actually never felt the need of it. Now, one thing which really adds to the design is the door handle. The door handle, when you lock it, goes inside. It's a small little gizmo, but really adds to the overall design appeal of the car. All the car of Jaguar these days, the Velar, the F-Pace, they all come with this, but this is a very, very important aspect to the overall design appeal of the I-Pace. It's really beautiful looking car. Boot space. I'm literally sitting on the boot space because there's nothing big to talk about the boot space. There is a space saver tire which actually takes up all the space of the boot. You can see that we have small little bags here, and if you are going to travel with the space saver tire, which you like to, and large suitcases, it would be a problem. There's a small space here to keep some stuff here, but it's actually meaningless. You can't do really much about it. But since it's an EV, there's one more boot in the front. Now let's see how Jaguar guys have done the front boot, because all EVs has this front boot where probably when you go into a valet, they will probably not know. Now, this is the front, which has the electric charging cable, and that's about it. So all in all, disappointed with the boot space. You really can't go for a big trip with luggages on the I-Pace. Batteries and charging. Now you can charge the car at the comfort of your home via 15 ampere socket and by installing an approved Jaguar wall box. The I-Pace is also equipped with an 11 kilowatt 3-phase AC onboard charger, which will help the vehicle fully recharge overnight and deliver up to 53 km of range per hour. A typical 50 kilowatt DC fast charger reduces the charging time to 1.5 hours only and can deliver up to 270 km of range per hour. Yo! It's time for the verdict, and at times like this I look at the greenery behind me, I look at the water bodies, and in order to maintain that and sustain that for the future, we need more EVs on the road. Surely we don't have many EVs on the road, but the infrastructure and the car manufacturers is fast catching up. Coming back to Jaguar I-Pace, it's a very, very capable SUV. It's got all the bells and whistles probably you need from an SUV. It's got a good range, good driving dynamics. So I'm going to summarize this by saying that in order, if you're looking for a luxury SUV and if you don't mind spending 1 crore plus to have that badge of honor, which is the green number plate, then the Jaguar I-Pace could be a good choice. And the change begins at the top. So be the change.